Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. This is the Rock and Roll Spot coming at you. Today I'm going to talk about the recently released Star Wars Episode VII, The Force Awakens trailer. Well, actually, it's more just a teaser trailer, really, but still, it's the first we've actually gotten to see from the movie. So, now, some might think, with this channel being Rock and Roll Spock, and me going by Rock and Roll Spock, that I would not be much of a Star Wars fan. However, nothing can be further from the truth. I was brought up watching both Star Wars and Star Trek, and in fact, I find well, first off, Empire Strikes Back is, in all honesty, one of my favorite movies of all time, if not my hands-down favorite. And it's definitely my favorite science fiction movie, period, in a discussion. And in fact, also, the idea that people have where within science fiction fandom, you have the people who are, or that it's just Star Wars fans or Star Trek fans. No, that's not how it is. Yes, there are people like that. People like that do exist. I know some of them, but most people are just like, hey, I can watch either one. Maybe they like one a little bit more than the other, but they don't go to the point of bashing the one they don't like. That being said, let's move on to the trailer itself, which, by the way, for those who have not yet watched it, I am linking it down below. So if you like, feel free to pause this video right about now or so, and then watch the trailer. Then come back, and you'll know exactly what it is I'm talking about, without having to just imagine it from what I'm saying. Anywho, first off, while the trailer really has me just totally pumped, I'm gonna go out and buy my tickets right now. I want to see it right now. That's how this trailer has hit me. There are still some things that have fallen a little flat, had me thinking, okay, that's not that great. That's not what I would have done, but all right, we'll see how it plays out. First off is the lightsaber that's carried around by this mysterious dark Jedi. Okay, first and foremost, I think it looks cool as hell. I really do. But it honestly has a different for the sake of being different feel to it. That's just to me. For those of you who haven't yet watched the trailer, what I'm talking about is there's a dark Jedi who we only see from behind as he ignites a lightsaber, and the blade lights up the way a regular lightsaber does in the movies, and then you have a cross guard of two additional, shorter, much shorter lightsaber blades, and like I said, it just fell flat with me. Like I said, I thought it looked cool as hell, but it's like they were sitting around and said, okay, so when Episode 1 came out, or when the trailer for Episode 1 came out, everyone crapped themselves over Darth Maul's double-bladed lightsaber. We need to do something cool with our Dark Jedi's lightsaber, even if we're only going to show him from behind and shadowy, so you can't really tell who the hell he is. So, and then they started working on new ideas for lightsabers. That's kind of what it feels like with me. Next up is this, earlier in the trailer is a rolling astromech. Seems to have a spherical, the normal astromech domed head on a spherical body. Now, first off, it does feel the same. I get the same feeling I get from the lightsaber. This is a droid that looks different for the sake of being different. Now, the thing about this is that, first off, maybe it could just be with the angle. I'm not seeing a portion like in the center that the astromech dome was attached to that is stationary while the rest of the spherical body rolls, or who knows what. It could just be someone on presumably Tatooine that cobbled stuff together, built this thing, and yeah, whatever. whatever the case is with it, I will probably end up rescinding all of this criticism about it when I see the whole movie and actually have an idea of who this droid is. But as it stands, I don't really know how this damn thing works. Like how it can do what an astromech is supposed to do. Now, for clarification's sake, this is R2-D2. This is probably the most well-known astromech droid in all of Star Wars, and one of the few characters to be in all 6 movies. Now, you'll notice that R2 has a cylindrical body with a domed head and two legs on the side, and in fact, that is pretty much how the astromech ports on X-wings and Y-wings are designed, and so that these droids can be lowered in, like we saw in the first Star Wars movie, especially at Yavin 4, before the Battle of Yavin. Now, the reason for that is that astromechs have all these various compartments, like these here, which are scomp links, and that's actually how the astromech interfaces with the starfighter. Also, that's how they can interface with other computer systems as well, such as the Death Star. There was R2's attempt at interfacing on Cloud City that did not go well. He got the droid equivalent of STD for that, but he got cleaned up. But with this spherical droid, I just don't see how it can do any of that with its spherical body. But like I said, I could be completely mistaken on everything about this droid, except for the rolling part. That I know I'm not mistaken about. And like I said, I will totally rescind my criticism of it after seeing the movie in its finished form, provided I like the way the droid is used and whatnot. But still, more than likely, I will just be like, okay, all right, I was wrong about that droid. But anywho, moving on to the stuff that has me just seriously pumped. That scene with the X-Wings coming in low over the lake or body of water. Oh, yes. The scene with the TIE Fighters and the Falcon. Oh, hell, just the thought of atmospheric air combat with starfighters. That in general, I can't wait. Hearing John Williams' score, seeing the stormtroopers, even if they were redesigned, even if the armor is somewhat redesigned, it at least has a logical progression feel. Like over time, the stormtrooper armor has become like this. Okay, cool. It's just same with the X-wing pilot helmet. We see it briefly. It's a lot sleeker, not as clunky, and like I said, it really does come off as, hey, logical progression. We're good. Now, I am actually very optimistic about this movie, and for various reasons. First off, being the fact that George Lucas is not involved at all. And if you look at things, the ones that he's been heavily involved in are far from the best, or are not entirely the best movies. First off, the prequels. Need I say any more than the prequels? Yes, there are things about them that are not all bad, or that aren't entirely bad, but there's not a lot about them that's all that good, especially when compared to the original trilogy. And then New Hope. New Hope is the low point, quality-wise, of the original trilogy. In fact, as I recall, Lucas only has a story credit on Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, and as well as executive producer and/or producer. That's all. But Abrams Abrams has me confident. First off, because of the fact that I would believe it was back in 2009, he stated during a press junket for his first Star Trek movie that he was never a Star Trek fan. He never really got in. He didn't like Star Trek, but he was always a Star Wars fan. And it shows. It really shows with his Star Trek movies. But that's which are, in all honesty, Star Wars movies with Star Trek characters. But that is a video for another day, believe you me. But other things have gotten me stoked, like the fact of practical effects, which I love practical effects. I really do. And by that I'm talking about, miniatures, actual makeup effects, making a creature, not just having a pole with a tennis ball on the end and say, okay, react to this, it's going to look like this thing. I'm talking about put a guy in a suit, make a cast of a guy and rip it apart. That's practical effects, damn it. And I love practical effects. I really do. I'm not going to say that computer effects are all bad, because there are some things you just can't really do practically. And even in the original trilogy, they needed computers. I mean, the blaster bolts. Look at the damn all of the space combat. Yes, it was largely done with miniatures, but at the same time, I mean, the super lasers, the turbo lasers on the Star Destroyers, the quad cannons on the Falcon, laser cannons on the X-wings and the TIE fighters. Those had to be added in. But anyways, use of practical effects always makes me happy. Also, locations as opposed to green screen. Also, then another thing that has me kind of interested is the narration on the trailer, which is given by Andy Serkis. But I'm very optimistic about this. And the final thing that's really, really got me sold is a few months ago, Kevin Smith, the director of Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, so on and so forth, one of my favorite filmmakers. He was in London and got to visit the set. Now, anyone who's watched at least the Jay and Silent Bob movies can attest to the fact that Kevin Smith is a huge, I mean huge, Star Wars fan. I think probably the only thing he likes as much as the only things that he likes as much as Star Wars would be comic books and his wife and daughter. But he's a huge Star Wars fan. Every movie he's made has had a nod to Star Wars somewhere. But he got to visit the set, and afterwards, now of course he had to sign a non-disclosure agreement that he could say he got to visit the set. He could talk about how he felt visiting the set, but he couldn't talk about much of anything he saw. But he tweeted about it, and he said he was weeping tears of joy, and that right there was one where I said, okay, these are going to be good. These are going to be good, because I mean, this is a guy that this is a guy who loves these movies, and here he is seeing them, watching them being made, and just thinking, okay, yeah, they did it right, they're doing it right, okay. And so, yeah, I am confident these will be good films. Anywho, I think I've gone on a bit long enough. As always, we'll be back on Wednesday with the weekly TV roundup. Once again, we'll have apparently a bit of a short week due to just some shows not airing because of the holiday, some shows taking a week off, whatever. But anywho, that being said, first, once again, to reiterate, the I brought this up on the weekly TV roundup, this past weekly TV roundup. I want to bring it up once again for those who may not have seen it. Constantine, the NBC series based upon the DC character John Constantine. NBC announced earlier this week that they they will not be ordering anything past the first 13 episodes of the series, which they already have. And while the show has not been canceled, a second season is not a sure thing in the slightest. So, if the show, which is kind of a supernatural horror show, in the same, it's the same kind of supernatural horror as Supernatural, just with a different type of character. If that seems like a show you'd be interested in watching, I highly recommend that you find a way to watch the series, as it is the numbers that are hurting the show. Anywho, that being said, I'll be back on Wednesday with weekly TV roundup. As I mentioned earlier, the link to the the teaser trailer itself of episode 7 will be linked down below. Feel free to follow me on Twitter and like the channel's Facebook page. And as always, live long, rock hard.